All right, welcome everyone. We are Semblance of Sanity. I'm Caleb.
I'm Jacob.
And we're here for Noragami OVA number 1. All right, so we have our little janky order switch up here.
Yep.
We've got OVAs that are perfect, I guess, to segment in between episode 6 and episode 7 of season 2. The previous one was very much kind of a world-building, lighthearted comedy.
Even though it was canon.
Well, yeah, because they were talking about, I guess, world-building things that were important to the canon of the show overall. Yep. But also, guys, I understand. This is a season 3 never kind of show. Thus, any bit of extra content, any bit, even if it's as silly and as lighthearted and as over-the-top and as shipping, fuel as it was
definitely.
Primarily. Yeah. It's important that we check it out.
Take what you can get.
Yeah, you gotta take what you can get. Exactly. Because, this is a show by Bones, and Bones has a lot of other things that are going very well for it right now.
Yeah, so, kind of stealing their attention away a little bit.
Yeah, and also just is a long time ago. Like, this show came out a while ago. So.
Yeah, it's crazy to think that, what was it, 2014 or somewhere around there? Like,
it was around right after Attack on Titan.
Right, but just thinking that, that is a long time ago now. Yeah.
Pretty crazy. But I'm guessing that this OVA might have a little bit more stuff that requires the setup of the OVA that came out after it, aka OVA number 2, so that in this case there's going to be something that one built up in order to make this one hit a little bit better. But hey, we trust the fans in the decisions and how these would be ordered, because they would be the kind of things that we would usually skip in reactions and stuff like that.
Right.
So, yeah. All right, y'all. Without further ado, let's get into this. All right, everyone, now be sure to go check out the reaction portion of the video in the description below, then come back here for the discussion. All right. Well,
that was a wacky episode.
Yeah.
I gotta say, as far as, hey, you're making an OVA?
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, let's have it focus on the high school stuff. Have some antics happening, because Noragami as a show keeps the plot moving so quickly that it wouldn't really make sense to have a lot of focus on the stuff that's the school aspect, because there's so much other stuff that is moving at such a fast pace.
Especially in season 2.
Yeah, especially in season
2. With what we got in the beginning, we went back and checked, found out that, yes, this is essentially the same school.
Like the building.
But it is because it has a junior high and a high school in the same thing there.
Right.
So Hiyori was in the process of transitioning towards high school. So what might be happening is that once the Bishamon arc with, Kugaha and all that is over, they'll have a little bit of a time skip. She'll be in high school when we go back to the show.
Everyone else is recovering and
exactly. And, the next segment of the story will begin. I like the idea that this OVA was primarily a comedy. There was a little bit of info regarding the idea of divine possession, and if Yato ends up basically causing too much trouble, that a council of the gods could be
called
convened,
step in, which
and they would step in and punish him, basically.
Right, and the fact that he's escaped their notice so far is rather impressive.
You know why I think that is, though? I think it's his reputation.
Oh,
I think it's just he has this terrifying reputation, but then every time when people meet him or get to know him, they're disappointed because it has this stark contrast to his reputation.
Yeah, or I could also see it being something like how the IRS doesn't really care about the small businesses. Really, they're more like let's audit.
He's not moving that much money or followers.
Right,
we
exactly.
don't have to audit.
Even if he was doing something bad, it's not that big of a deal. Like that kind of a thing. So,
although we did have a situation right now where he was loosely connected to a very, very powerful god in Bishamon, nearly having everything go to chaos. So maybe what'll happen is Bishamon will get kind of the IRS equivalent, kind of show up and be like, "Is everything okay?
Yep.
Is everything well?" And they're like,
Status
"We're recovering.
Yep.
This is what happened. It's okay." Anyone else that is involved, we should talk with. It's like Kazuma would be like, "No one is involved.
Yeah,
This is it."
Yeah, it's internal matter entirely. Yeah.
Exactly. Yeah, that could be kind of an interesting way to focus on it. But we also had this way to focus on Hiyori and the idea that she, as a person, is growing up, but there's all those insecurities regarding the idea of going into high school and that feeling of being like basically an adult now. So she's like, oh, I pulled up my skirt a little bit. You know, it's like, I'm gonna be a little bit more confident, a little bit more out there and outgoing.
All the little details and things that are like, this is what's important to me in my life right now. When at the same time she's been a part of gods doing battle. And yet she can still go back to this, quaint little high school life.
Right.
Awesome.
And it's good that she's still got her friends and stuff and everything there. But I love how the comedy of, Yato possessing her body, which is in itself a bit terrifying.
Definitely.
Especially with Kofuku involved. That's where it went to like near apocalyptic scenarios where we're like, oh no. But the idea that in the end, she now has this incredible reputation for being this hero of the school, basically.
Oh my God.
She's gonna be their icon for a time. Yato, you basically gave her followers. You
right. Yeah.
You did nothing for yourself here. Even though it was, for the most part, selfishly motivated. I kind of buy his, I'm just lonely and I wanted to have he embellished on the truth of he's lonely with I just wanted to have a high school life with it's like no. Let's be real. You are lonely, yes. But the reason why you did this was just for you. It felt cool, it felt good, and you were immune to the consequences of it.
Right.
So therefore,
And I love it. As far as so this is a very, very different kind of show. But bear with me for a second. Do you remember when we first started this show, I kept mentioning that it felt very similar to Bleach. And this was a nostalgia trip of an episode because it was hilarious in its own right. But at the same time, I'm just thinking, this takes me back to Khan's introductory episode.
Yes.
And that because that's basically what's happening, except the people that are getting possessed and all of that stuff, that basically just the genders are swapped, right? There basically. You go, right? And sure, why not? And instead of it just being the negative, there's actually a lot of positive too. Doing a crazy 3-point landing, dropping to one knee, catching a guy
from dropping from like the second story window or something.
And then just walking away and being like, oh shit, I dislocated my shoulder. That's I love it. It's great. It's great. And the fact that we have Kofuku and Kuro just sort of along for the ride and everything, and then the person who does the possession gets properly, gets threatened with a decent amount of retribution by Kuro.
So they, own up to it and apologize.
Exactly, because otherwise they're getting a face full of concrete.
Right. But I like that that's the thing that's their go-to now, because we saw that in episode 6, and now we're seeing it again here as like this is the gag that we do. Yes, Kuro was probably a Yakuza, and this is how he would torture people, or like threaten them with, a very slow drowning death of some kind of thing. And he's like, no, this works. Like, 100% of the time, it works. And even if it doesn't, I get to kill someone at the end.
Even if it doesn't, it's still fun to watch them squirm. But then of course, because in this dynamic, it's a very, shall we say, enabled dynamic.
Yes.
And so Hiyori then is like, it's okay, and it's like you're soft on him. It's like, no shit, Sherlock.
Exactly.
Like that. Oh man. I mean, good cop, bad cop. Don't get me wrong, but I think it's supposed to go like the opposite direction, where you start like you go bad cop, bad cop, like so that way you get some stuff from them rather than just giving them a carte blanche.
Because Yato still hasn't fixed her.
He still hasn't fixed her, and he hasn't been fully honest with her about why he hasn't fixed her.
Yeah, exactly. Yep.
So
exactly. Yeah. So all this stuff still ties back to the original problem that was introduced in the very first episode of the show. It's just a thing of where, over the course of time, maybe they'll, start to have a little bit more, just appreciation and just general, like, hey, I don't mind this entirely. don't mind being your friend or your only follower, really.
Right.
Yukine doesn't count technically because he's a regalia.
He doesn't really have a choice in the matter.
I mean, he has a choice.
Sort of.
No, we did. Yeah. That was the whole point of episode 6. Little like joking bits is that there's the flyers and stuff.
Right.
Oh, would you like to switch? The union and everything for regalia.
That is true. That is true. Yes, that is a great point.
Look at this one who totally changed their lives and then went on the regalia TV show or something. Like, oh my god.
But Yato, if you can't fully be honest with Hiyori, then maybe just use Yukine as a bargaining chip of like, hey, we can't split up the family. Think of our son.
Think of the son.
Like think of the children, right? Like, I'm sure that wouldn't put any undue strain on the relationship, But
oh man,
oh boy,
yeah.
These knuckleheads.
These chunger buckleheads.
The fact that Yukine and Hiyori were the only responsible 2 people in this episode, other than Kuro, because he came in at the end.
Kind of like jumped in on the excitement.
She did.
Saw how badass of a soccer player she was. Sorry, football. Yeah.
Right.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Japan,
so, Kuro, how will you rein these chatterheads?
He's got his own child to think of. He's like,
too much. Yeah.
He's like, I don't care about anyone else's kids. Like I deal with mine. Keep my house in order.
I help with your kids by keeping my kid away from your kids. Yeah. Oh boy.
But every once in a while, I let her have outings so that she doesn't go crazy. But
you need like a chain leash or something.
Yeah, he needs to have like some kind of binding contract written in like God ink or something where it's like, all right, here are the things that you cannot do. And she's like, and he's like, all right, these are the things. And then she's like, I see technicalities everywhere. And he's like, damn it.
No, so what
fine, at least just make sure it's not these things. And she's like, okay. And then leaves and does like 2 degrees off of the thing that's on those. And he's like,
see what he needs to do.
Right.
Is he needs to basically hire 2 other regalia for like the equivalent of like dog walking basically, but they do like a moving ablution to just keep her in like a sectioned off area so that she can see the outside, but not touch.
You think that they would successfully be able to do that?
No,
she's
but they would try.
Walking beacon of chaos. Like,
yeah, that's why they keep it contained to like the very thin long wedge, that they just sort of
right.
Like, yeah.
But also with her like raw power and stuff, if it actually came to like blows of like, no, you will let me do this. It's like, oh yeah.
Well, yeah, that's the problem. I think Kuro could maybe get her to understand for a little bit, but.
I mean, she does really love him, like care for him and
Indeed.
stuff. And there's a good relationship there in terms of their emotions and stuff.
Right, but they've got a fairly decent dynamic going. Yato and Hiyori could maybe learn from them.
It is kind of a funny thing in that, yes, like, Kuro is totally put upon by Kofuku, but Kofuku, like, 100% loves and cares for Kuro. So it is...
And communicates and understands that.
Yeah, it is an old couple dynamic that is... Also
wonderful to watch.
Very like chaotic father-daughter dynamic as well.
Right.
So like nothing weird obviously, but just like that's the thing is that Yato might never change really he will still have that trashy side of himself.
Definitely.
But you're going to still learn to appreciate the parts of him that are wholesome and full of, heart.
And semi props to Yato. He could have been worse than he was. When he was in the locker room, I was convinced that it was going to cut to Yato with like the shirt, like with the single button, going to save the person.
No shirt at all.
Well, I mean, 2 kinds of people in the world.
That's true.
But no, he actually got into a running outfit before, he left. So
you could say it was a new tracksuit. Like
and that does mean that he actually did fully change, which
Hiyori just kind of forgot about.
Yeah, she forgot about the Iron Fleet.
Right.
But
hey, I mean,
here we are.
It's better for her sanity, and it's better for
Yato's
everyone
safety.
Here. Yes, that too. Right.
He saw the concrete bucket, Yeah.
He's like, never again.
Nope.
Never again. I also love the idea that while Yato is this terrifying ex-god of calamity, kind of, he is, technically that is his role and stuff, but in the end, it just takes a god. It takes Kofuku's regalia, basically. Like there were other parties there. There were other parties there, but it just shows how not serious he is about a lot of this.
Yes.
But also that, you know, if it comes down to it, the most terrifying being in this world is not Tenjin. It is not Bishamon. It is not Yato on a rampage. It is Kofuku and a pissed off regalia of Kofuku. Because if you piss off Kuro to the point where Kofuku gets pissed off that you pissed off
by
Kuro,
proxy,
by proxy,
you're screwed.
It's over. Well, everything is over.
I think in general in this show, the most powerful force beyond gods and regalia is the stern look.
It really is.
It's the don't make me come over there. Yeah. You know, whether it's from an ex-Yakuza or from, you know, just a wholesome person that shouldn't have to put up with this.
Right. Yes. But, also, yes, there were quite a few of those good judgment stares from Hiyori. I very much appreciated those.
Yep.
Yeah. But cool stuff. Good little OVA there, a little break in the you know, the kind of the flow of things here to give us a little bit of world building and then a little bit of goofy high school fun times.
Right.
And
but now we're on to
going
the
back
next
to
bit.
back to season 2. So y'all, thank you so much for watching this OVA's reaction and discussion. If you want to see the next episode's reaction, so episode 7 of Noragami season 2, go check out the link in the description below for our Patreon. You can get on early access there. You can watch full-length timer reactions there, and all this comes with Discord access, so you can chat with us in the community there about this show, about anime in general, and also be sure to check out our Twitch channel.
Yes, so all the info for it is in the description pretty much, but for the games that we do, on Wednesdays and Fridays, Caleb is doing...
I'm going to be playing Cyberpunk 2077.
Yes, and then on Thursdays, I'm doing Persona 4 Golden.
Yeah, so if any of that interests you, we'll see you there. But until then, we're Semblance of Sanity. I'm Caleb.
I'm Jacob.
And we'll see you all
next time.